Today I'm going to be talking about the Neogi. There's going to be two overarching themes. The first is things that the 5th edition books tell you about the Neogi, and the second half is going to be things that the 5th edition books do not tell you about the Neogi. So make sure to stay tuned and listen into the second half. Now, to begin, to put it simply, Neogi are despicable tyrants. The best comparison I've heard to Neogi is it's kind of like finding a cockroach in your fridge eating your food. You feel an impulsive urge to kill it with impunity, destroy it with fire, and disinfect any area it's been in. Neogi are small, at only 3 feet tall, but they have a powerful enslavement magic which can charm humanoids, making them small but deadly. Now, what do Neogi actually look like? Well, as you can see on the screen, Neogi look like a cross between a wolf spider and a moray eel. Volo's Guide to Monsters depicts the Neogi as having claw-like appendages, but this isn't true for all Neogi. There's a variety of arms and legs, ranging from spider-like to more fleshy with mobile joints. In general, though, they are mostly brown, with brown quill-like hairs on their abdomen. What are they like? Well, to put it simply, they're slavers through and through. To a Neogi, everything is either owned or owner, slave or master. Neogi keep a variety of creatures as slaves. Most prominently and most well known is Umber Hulks. Umber Hulks are brutish insectoids whose minds are weak to the enslavement magic of the Neogi. Each Neogi has at least one Umber Hulk under its control, called a Lord Servant. And there's other creatures that can be controlled and enslaved by the Neogi. If a Neogi there's a good rule of thumb that if a Neogi knows common well enough to communicate, then they've most likely eaten a human. Now, next I want to talk about the birds and the bees. Neogi reproduction. Oh yeah. This is disgusting by the way. When a Neogi becomes elderly, other Neogi grip up and overpower it and inject it with a special poison slash toxin. The toxin transforms the elderly Neogi into a bloated, helpless mass called a Great Old Master. Young Neogi lay eggs on it, and when the eggs hatch, the Neogi hatchlings devour the Great Old Master, and then they devour each other until only the strongest survive. Of the 20 to 40 Neogi hatchlings that are born, only about 3 to 6 survive. Surviving Neogi hatchlings begin their life under the control of an adult Neogi, and they begin their training by gaining mastery over a young Umber Hulk. Now, this is a strange section, but Neogi are kind of fashionistas. They mark themselves and their slaves with dyes, transformational magics, and tattoos. If you ever see a Neogi with fluorescent or bright colored body, run. So, to summarize, Neogi are lawful evil. They have a strict hierarchy, but they're still evil slavers. Okay, that is a quick overview of everything the Monster Manual, Volo's Guide to Monsters, teaches you about the Neogi. Next, I want to teach you about things that the books do not teach you about Neogi. First up is language. So their language is called Kazakhstan. Neogi avoid teaching their language to non-Neogi. Neogi get furious and almost blood frenzied when someone mispronounces something in their language, especially the names of their gods. Speaking of their gods, I would like to apologize to my Neogi overlords, forgive me, but I must attempt to pronounce the names of your gods. There's Kajikzl, the dead god of creation. There's Kilix, a chaotic, evil, lesser god of death, murder, and poison. There's Kurtix, a chaotic, evil, lesser god of war, brutality, and strength. There's Puk, a lawful evil, lesser god of fear and tyranny. There's Thrinki, a neutral evil, lesser god of love, actually more like envy and jealousy in terms of humans. And there's Tsenkil, a neutral evil, lesser god of torture, pain, and suffering. So just an all-around nice quality pantheon they have there. Now, next I'm going to talk about their home planet. It's called Kajixl. Kajix. Apologies for the pronunciation. So, there are two conflicting stories on what the Neogi home planet was like. Dragon Magazine number 350 tells a story of how the Neogi homeworld was destroyed by clockwork horrors, whereas Dragon Magazine number 214 tells of how Kajix was the place where the Neogi god Kachixl landed after he was killed by lesser Neogi gods. The Neogi were apparently born from the brain of the deity. They abandoned their world after finding out their god's intentions to conquer all the crystal spheres. Now, where are Neogi found? More reasonably, where would you need to be in the unfortunate position to be encountering a Neogi? Well, they're found in the Underdark of the Forgotten Realms, often nearby Drow and Mind Flayer settlements, Mind Flayer being illithids, um, mostly just as slavers, buying and selling slaves. And then in Spelljammer, they're found traveling to and from crystal spheres, using spelljamming ships called Death Spiders, which kind of look like spiders. You can see them on the screen now. So that is my summary of Neogi, what they're like, what they look like, what you do and don't find in Volo's Guide to Monsters, page 179 to 180. Hope you had a good time. Tried throwing in a couple of jokes there. If you like it, so consider subscribing, liking, leaving a comment. I will read all comments. And if you have any constructive criticism, I would love to hear it. Okay, thanks for listening.